Be a part of the best pro wrestling podcast today by supporting the Going In Raw Patreon. You can enjoy access to the live taping of the show, exclusive merchandise, and patron-only episodes, and so much more. Support Going In Raw today. Click the link in the description. Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw Breaking News Edition, Larson. So much breaking news happening right now. I got to get on my phone and get
Wouldn't
your
this
notes.
be considered a dirt sheet then?
Oh, welcome to the dirt sheet. We're doing this. We're doing this on the fly via Skype because we're both doing shit.
Yeah, well, the news is breaking.
It's so breaking.
It's new news, so we have to get on it right away.
It's the most breaking news we could possibly think of, and we're bringing it to you right here on the dirt sheet.
Yeah. So yesterday.
Yeah, late yesterday.
Well, yesterday we did dirt sheet.
Yes, we did.
In the early afternoon, and after we had filmed it, I think I already left. We heard about these rumors floating around the internet, brought to us by Front Row Brian.
Yeah.
And he was tweeting that PAIGE had quit wrestling for the WWE earlier in the week, and that she had lawyered up, retained the lawyer to, I guess, help her get out of her contract.
So we had actually done part of our dirt sheet yesterday that went up this morning on PAIGE.
Yes.
And because we had heard, the only thing we had heard is that she had obtained legal counsel.
Yes.
But evidently, here's the thing about PAIGE is that she's under contract till 2019.
Correct.
And so it would appear to be that the legal representation is to figure out how to get out of that particular arrangement.
Yes.
So that's a bummer. But given what we've heard in terms of the WWE trying to say, hey, we're going to fire you if you don't break up with Alberto Del Rio, you're gone. This isn't terribly surprising. She's young, for one thing. She's only 24.
Yeah.
And so when you're that age, you're typically going to... I'm not going to judge her decisions. So yeah, she hired counsel, evidently, according to Front Row Brian, to get her out of her contract, which is still going for another 3 years.
Yeah.
If she somehow doesn't get out of this contract, I'm not sure exactly, she's going to be slumming at a jobbing on superstars the rest of her days in the WWE.
Well, that's what I was curious about. Whether, I assume, she could just go and say, okay, I'm done, I quit. But I think the problem is that while she's still under contract,
she can't wrestle.
She can't wrestle for anybody else. Exactly.
Right. Yeah. That's the.
So she could quit and go get a job, not in a non-wrestling capacity somewhere, and probably be in the clear. But if she wants to go and continue her wrestling career outside WWE, that's why she needs to get out of her contract.
Now, I mean, if you think about this long game, I don't know what kind of money. I mean, she's probably made some pretty decent money in the WWE. But travel expenses, that money gets eaten up pretty quickly. So if, especially if you're young, like, for example, when CM Punk got out of the game, he was older, he's like our age. And so he'd been in the game for a long time, and he had a couple, his last contract I know was lucrative.
Yeah.
And so he apparently is a guy, according to everybody that I've heard about the subject, is very frugal. He knows how to save his money. He doesn't need to do anything. He doesn't need to work financially.
Yeah.
And so, but he's older. He's been in the game for a long time. PAIGE, I'm not sure if she ever had like a big cash-in contract type thing. And so 3 years away from wrestling is a very long time.
Yes.
I mean, because the thing is, on the upside, she's only 24. So if she came back in 3 years, she'd be 27. So
she'd still be young.
Still a long career ahead of her,
Yeah.
and it would give her a lot of time to heal up her body.
Yeah.
But 3 years is a long time, and when you're in that profession, I think as fans we understand that when you're gone from the spotlight, absence makes the heart grow fonder in a way. It's like 3 years from now she pops back up on the scene. That could be a huge deal.
Yeah.
From her perspective, from a performer's perspective, there's always the danger of, well, is the business going to pass me by? I always need to be in the spotlight. If I want more different opportunities down the line, being out of the spotlight for 3 years is a huge risk. Even if you are set up financially, if you want to continue to make money down the line, being out of the spotlight that long is a big gamble to take.
Well, also, this could be an opportunity for her to transition from wrestling to maybe some other things that she might want to do.
Right, exactly. So
and do that in the interim. And then in 3 years, if she can't get out of her contract, if she decides, okay, I want to wrestle again, she still has that opportunity.
Right. I would suspect that if she wasn't able to get out of her WWE contract, she'd probably, this is speculation on my part, she'd probably stick it out. 3 years is a long time not to do what you're known for, not to be able to do that. That's a long time to go. So I would think that she'd probably stick it out, but I don't know. I don't know the person. I don't know what's going on in her head. That's just my gut instinct. It's like, if you don't win that, then you're probably going to just have to gut it, stick it out.
But also, we don't know how volatile that situation is right now.
That's true. That's true.
If all of these rumors are to be believed, I would suspect that WWE might be the last place Paige wants to be.
Hey, and you know what? This could be kind of situation where she's getting legal representation to represent her side of a contract release. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like if the WWE has agreed, hey, we need to part ways. You need a lawyer up so that we can work this out. Because she's just a regular person. She ain't a lawyer. You kind of need that if you're going to negotiate a contract release so that you're not screwed. And so that everything is, so there's no question about it down the line. Oh, well, I didn't have legal representation. They didn't tell me, blah, blah, blah. She can't say that now. WWE probably said, look, if you want out, go get a lawyer and we'll talk about it. Yeah, so that could we don't know their side of things.
Exactly. There's a lot of this situation we don't know.
Speaking of unknowns, her relationship with Alberto Del Rio, which apparently is still going strong because she was at his press conference today following the official release of him from the WWE. They announced it. Interestingly, they never said, we wish him well in his future endeavors. In their statement, that's not the final little sentence there. I have no idea if that means anything or not. I don't know. It
was short, but then again, most statements, WWE issues, are short.
Correct. And Alberto Del Rio himself issued a statement, said that I'm leaving on good terms. He said that twice. He actually said that in his press conference, too, that he's leaving on good terms and that there's open space for a return, which is, I would say, the diplomacy that comes with the experience of age. You know what I mean? Like, it'll be interesting to see how Paige's release, if it happens, how that goes down, and if that's going to be on, quote, good terms. But yeah, let's see here. So he held a press conference today to talk about his future.
Yeah.
Go over
as you mentioned,
stuff.
Paige came with them to the press conference, but didn't actually participate in it.
And she specifically said, no, I'm not doing interviews right now, because obviously people were like, hey, it's Paige. Let me go ask her some questions. She's the real story. Interestingly, it was at a Hooters. Yeah. And not only was that at a Hooters, it was the backdrop for the press conference had the Hooters logo and the Alberto Patron logo on it. Alberto El Patron logo on it, which is his name outside of the WWE.
Yeah.
El Patron means the boss in Spanish. So why don't you go over some of the highlights from the press
these are all courtesy of Fredo Esparza at Lucha World on Twitter.
Okay.
He was kind of live tweeting the press conference.
Right.
Del Rio said he had been unhappy in WWE for a couple months, and he was considering leaving, and said that wrestling for WWE caused him to lose his passion for wrestling.
Right.
And he asked for his release, and it was mutually agreed upon. This is interesting that WWE won't enforce their typical 90-day no-compete clause. Mm-hmm. So apparently he's free to wrestle in Mexico, and I think internationally right away, and then in the States here within a month.
Now, this is the interesting part of this, is him saying the WWE won't enforce the 90-day no-compete clause versus he didn't have one. Because remember, when he came back, he signed for a not unsubstantial chunk of change. Mm-hmm. He had like, what, a $1.5 million
I think it was about $1.3 million.
What's
downside
that?
guarantee.
It was $3 million?
1.3.
1.3, okay. So with a contract like that, it wouldn't surprise me if he got rid of that no compete clause in his contract somehow, because it's like, hey, obviously you guys want me, you're ponying up this money, So, but he says they're not going to enforce it, which might have meant there is one, and this was actually on good terms, which is really interesting, because if any of this had to do with his relationship, it makes me wonder if if him leaving didn't have to do with their relationship, but her situation has to do with their relationship.
Could be.
I don't know. And so they're treating him like they would in any other situation. Okay, well, he's being professional about things, but with her, it's going to be a different issue. I don't know. He's free to wrestle in Mexico right away in the U.S. In a month. And he said he is talking to the two big promotions in Mexico. He doesn't want to sign with, I think it's AAA and CMLL. He doesn't want to sign exclusively to either one. He'd like to pull double duty. He says he plans on working for multiple promotions, wants to retire in 2 years, and is in talks to become his goal. I think he said was 60 matches per year.
Yeah.
Which if he's making, speculate, do you think he can make the $4,500 per show Ryback's making?
Yeah.
Bigger name than Ryback.
Oh yeah.
$5,000 per show.
At least.
$300,000 a year is pretty good money. for 2 months worth of work.
I know.
I'll take it.
But apparently, you mentioned he wants to retire in 2 years, and he's in talks with the MMA promotion about becoming a commentator and eventually president.
Right.
And I just read about this before we started that, according to both Wrestling Inc. and WrestleZone, that Del Rio will be wrestling for World Association of Wrestling in Norwich, England.
Okay.
In a couple weeks, September 16th, 17th, and that is the promotion owned by Paige's father.
Interesting. I mean, I guess it's not terribly surprising, but it is interesting that there's sort of an immediate sort of connection there. Boy, a love connection has been made. Well, that's good. I mean, that's good. What do you think their conversations are like?
I don't know.
Speculate.
I'm sure they talk about stuff that everybody else talks about.
You think so?
I mean, maybe I'm sure when they have time, they binge watch shows on Netflix just like all the rest of us do.
He's older than us, isn't he? He's like 40 something.
I don't think he's that much older than us. No.
Isn't that weird? He looks like somebody's. I mean, I know we're dads. He looks like he could be my dad. He has a dad-esque vibe to him. We don't have dad-esque vibes. I know I don't have a dad-esque vibe. You kind of do.
I feel like I do.
I don't know. Let's see here. And then you asked the question here in our notes that you made up. How badly did the WWE fumble this situation?
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Why do you think that the WWE in several situations have gone out of the way to promote the relationships between two of their superstars, but in this case, they've gone, if rumors are true, out of their way to try to break these two up?
The Paige thing is interesting. The Alberto Del Rio thing isn't that surprising simply because Triple H doesn't seem to be too high on the guy. He's making a lot of money and not really contributing that level of money to the company in terms of, I would imagine, selling merchandise. I'd imagine being a draw. Like, he's just not much of it. They haven't made him into a draw. And I've said this many times. I like Alberto Del Rio. I think he's an extremely talented guy. He's good in the ring. I think that for whatever reason, they just were never able to write him in a way, or he was never able to he never really made a connection with people. That was the problem. And you have to make a connection. If your character is this Mexican aristocrat, which I thought was his strongest sort of angle, you have to connect with him either on a heel level. You either need to hate him, you need to, but with him too often, it just seemed like, he was sort of a filler match. He was a transitional champion when he was champion. Yeah. So with him, it's not necessarily surprising. If there was some sort of bad influence that he was exerting over Paige, I guess I could see how they would be treated in two different ways. Her being so young and her basically sort of, she came up through NXT. When did she hit NXT? Like when she was 19 or something?
Yeah, she was pretty young.
She was pretty young. And so it's kind of different when you're sort of raising somebody up through your ranks as opposed to getting somebody who's been around a little while. And somebody who's older and more seasoned and sort of on the downside of things and is, to be frank, a professional. I mean, I know that he had that spat with the social media guy, but, the social media guy said some racist shit, which allegedly is what happened, even if it's some crack about, I don't know. And Del Rio punched him. I say, good for Del Rio. I mean, what the hell? You don't fuck around people like that. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know if there's a double standard going here because there's a guy-girl situation. We don't know enough of the situation. But the bottom line is Del Rio wanted out because they weren't using him right. According to him anyways, like his words, he didn't really feel all that comfortable. He wasn't really great with the direction. Those are his words. He wanted out. Paige evidently has decided that she wants to roll with him as opposed to furthering her career in the biggest company in the world.
Yeah.
Where according to the dirt sheet, she has a lot of upside still, and in our eyes, she has a lot of upside still.
Yes.
But she probably also realizes, I would hope that, I would hope that part of her decision making is, I'm young. I've been doing this for a long time. I have a lot more time left.
Yep.
It's not a bad time to explore some options, and maybe she's getting that legal representation so that things don't turn acrimonious, and so she doesn't burn a bridge in the WWE. Yeah. That's probably best case scenario, I would think. It's like, well, this isn't working out. I want to be with him. I'm burnt out. I'm injured. I'm getting suspended now. Let's try to figure a way so that I can leave, and then when I'm feeling up for it again, I can come back. That's best case scenario I can think of.
Yep.
So is it a fumbling from our perspective, given that we don't know much and we just see somebody getting suspended, somebody hiring a lawyer? A lot of negative connotations there, but that could be just the professional way to deal with things, Yeah. If you get brought into the police station because somebody got killed, you get a lawyer. Doesn't matter if you're innocent or not. You get a lawyer. Doesn't matter how it looks. You get a lawyer.
I mean, it's hard to formulate an accurate assessment of a situation when so much of what you hear is rumor and probably conjecture.
Yeah.
And so as you said, all you hear are these little negative tidbits, and you try to put them together to create a narrative that makes sense.
Yeah.
And often, I think, since there's such an incomplete picture, the narrative that you can put together or you think you can put together is not what actually exists.
Right, exactly. And on top of that, hey, you know what? As soon as we put this goes live on our channel, and then turns out she's negotiating an extension for 10 years.
Could be lifetime contract.
We have no idea. Maybe she says, "Hey, I want some time to travel around with my, with Poppy, with Del Rio," and. I couldn't imagine Paige saying Poppy. Have you heard anybody say Poppy in a British accent?
You're so obsessed with knowing what their dynamic is like.
What's wrong with that? I'm fascinated by people, man.
I am too.
This isn't not as much as me. Although you did get caught staring at somebody the other day.
Oh. Oh goodness!
Crazy people, man. There's crazy people in the world everywhere.
First of all, I wasn't, like I told the guy, I wasn't staring at anybody. I was trying to find a nectarine.
I know.
That's what I was doing.
I know. There's crazy people in the world. One interesting glance. That's an interesting couple right there. You turn back away, look for a nectarine. Hey, I wish I was there. God, I wish I was a fly on the wall. I'm telling you, man, should have given that guy a code breaker. Put him in the lion tamer or the walls of Jericho. Have him tap out.
You see, but isn't that's breaking kayfabe, isn't it?
No,
that'd be a shoot.
Well, yeah. You want to beat the guy. You don't want him to come. You don't want the hot tag. I'm just throwing terms out there now.
I know, me too.
Oh, hey, good news for CM Punk. No, not literally. When our episode went up today about him possibly not being in fighting shape,
he made weight.
He was weighing in. He weighed in at 170. Let me ask you this. Was he working everybody? Was he trolling everybody? You think he was actually over 200 pounds 10 days ago?
I don't know.
Not a chance. No
way.
I'm
sure about an hour before fight time tomorrow, he's going to be closer to 200 pounds than he is right now.
Oh, well, yeah, of course.
He's going to put on as much weight as he can.
What do you think he's doing right now? What do you think he's eating right now?
Of course.
What do they eat to make weight, to build up weight?
Just a lot.
You think he can just go to McDonald's and fill up?
No, I think I don't know if it's still the practice, but most athletes the day before a competition, they would carb load.
Yeah, so lots of pasta.
to store up a lot of energy in their muscles. But I don't know if
Potatoes.
science has proven that to be false. I don't know.
Potatoes.
Yeah, but usually not just potatoes, but like sweet potatoes, because there's
Right,
actually some
yeah.
nutrition to them.
Yeah, potatoes. Lots of potatoes. He goes to Arby's and gets a lot of curly fries.
Well, I don't think
Anyways,
you want fried foods.
do you want to wish CM Punk well?
I do.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll wish him well too. I hope he does good. I really
Yeah, I hope he does well. I hope he wins.
good. Yeah, I know, me too. Wouldn't that be something? That'd be weird, right?
That'd be great.
He's so old.
It would give me hope that I could achieve.
I was about to say it. It gives me hope.
I could achieve something great like that
Here we go.
in my old age.
Put the Dukes up. All right.
If he
well,
wins this fight, maybe I'll go to wrestling school. And become
there
a
you
wrestler
go.
now.
We should do it. Yeah, let's take some bumps. Oh,
No,
God.
I'm already sore when I wake up in the morning as is.
No
I don't even
kidding.
do anything.
Oh, my God. It's horrible. It's absolutely horrible.
It's awful.
Yeah. Anyways, so yeah, we'll find out what happens tomorrow night when CM Punk takes on Mickey Gall.
Correct.
All right. And yeah, I'm interested in this, checking out this new Alberto Del Rio line of restaurants. Did we even mention that here?
No, we haven't mentioned it. I'd have to go and look and see what the whole situation is. But I saw some passing reference to him wanting to open some restaurants in the U.S.
Open some franchise of Alberto El Patrons. Alberto the Bosses. Yeah, anyways. All right, so that's it for now for this breaking episode of the Dirt Sheet. So, yeah, this is what's happening.
We're trying to present ourselves as real journalists now.
You know what, man? I had a great little setup with a little picture-in-picture thing, and then my computer just wouldn't. I don't know what I'm doing over here. That's my problem. We need like a young, tech-savvy professional PA over here, just roaming around my house. Plenty of room. I'll build another room over here.
Okay.
Or they can just, there's a shed out in the back with a couple of black widows. They can hang out back there at night. I mean, there's dog crap everywhere from Gypsy, so they can just crap on the floor out there on the ground. Is that good? Is that appealing to anybody? No, not you. No,
I don't think so.
Okay. Anyways, until next time, we'll talk to you guys later.
Bye.